Hi, and welcome back for your daily dose of LOL Esports content, where I'm going to cover all four major regions and the games that took place earlier today, as well as preview the matchups that will take place tomorrow on Sunday. Predictions: I'm 87 and 43 on the season, went 9 and 2 on the day. In terms of LCK LPL, 5 and 0. First, we have KT DRX. KT win 2 to 1. Deft 23 and 13, 33% of damage. BDD 9-5-25 in mid lane. Teddy 5-6 and 18, 30% of damage in the loss. So Pyosik ends up being my MVP in part because he stole a Baron, I believe it was a Baron, in game 3 to be able to get the game into KT's hands, and we're able to run from there and win it. Now, how did we get there? Game 1, close laning phase, 800 gold lead for KT. However, they had a CS advantage in every area, 19 in top lane for Perfect over Rascal, as well as a 24 CS lead for Deft and Barrel into Teddy and Playeta. In terms of action in the laning phase, Sponge was honestly, I would say, gapping Pyosik. If there was a jungle gap, it was there. Now, in the end, Pyosik gets better of him, but Sponge, once again, in Game 1, shows some aggression. He's shown that throughout the season, even though the team is now, 1 and 5. I've liked what I've seen out of Sponge. Pyosik on the Poppy, also matching eventually as the mid-game went along, bringing the team into a good spot. Teddy on the Senna, however, was just laying down damage as the game went along. He and Playeta really pacing it. I will say, though, as top lane's concerned, I really just thought in this game, especially in Game 2, that Rascal, I mean, I've said this the last time, I think he's really fried. He is not the player from a couple of years ago, not even close. Game 2, 2.2k gold lead for KT, 38 CS lead for Perfect over Rascal. Very active out of Pyosik. Sponge only really got one playoff where KT got a couple off in the bot lane, got Barrel on the TK in a good position. Perfect on the Rumble, like I said, very strong, and Pyosik on the Vi. Somehow, someway, Pyosik ends up racking up kills on Vi, I've noticed, more so than most otherVis. Just his KDA ends up being kind of crazy. Game 3, though, tied at the end of laning phase. After 15 minutes, gold is pretty much even. Now there's a 14 CS lead for Pyosik, an 11 CS lead for BDD on the Orianna. But it really didn't matter because topside had been heavily favored for Rascal. He got some help on the Nari. He was able to actually solo kill Perfect in Game 1 because they made 2 plays to topside. However, like I said, BDD on the Orianna had a lead, and he was able to use that lead to get KT in a good spot. Pyosik steals that Baron, and Deft on the Varus deals damage, gets kills in the very late game to clean it up. I mean, he ended up going, like I said, 23 and 13, so a pretty damn good KDA out of the AD carry, especially in a series where it went 3 games and they did have a loss. Brion T1. T1 would win 2-0. So I really talk down about Brion quite a bit, in part due to their style of play. I will give them some credit that they have been very proactive in making changes to their roster already. I will say that it may be too early. There are caveats to that. Doing it against T1 is probably not the greatest idea for Zomver and Palu for their first career LCK series to be against T1's bot lane. That was, I would argue, criminal by not only Edgar, but then what T1 did to them. So, Game 1, let's first do this. Faker, 9-4-15, 25% of damage was MVP. Guma, 11-4 and 14 at 80 carry. Morgan, 3-7-6, 26% of damage in the loss. So Game 1 was one of the more lopsided laning phases I think I've ever seen. The first tower was taken at 7:30 by T1's bot lane over Bro. They were playing Caitlyn Lux. They both got a 2v2 kill, and they were up 1.7k gold as a team at 7 minutes 30 seconds and 48 CS. They actually had more Their CS, they were up 95-47 in CS as a duo versus Bro. Not much action in the first 7 minutes because it was kind of just lane diffies. Morgan on the Aatrox did keep it close for a little while. But Guma Kyria had got like 13 of 15 plates, or T1 as a team got 13 of 15 plates in the laning phase. Like that went along, for 14 minutes. Just an absolute dominating performance. And it showed a big diffy. Now, I do give Samver and Palu a lot of credit. Samver especially. I think he went deathless in game 1, where he may have died once. Very, very good given the circumstances of what was happening. Now, game 2, T1, I would almost guarantee took their foot off the pedal, the gas, if you will. Faker in game 2, I thought, was the one trying the hardest on Talia. They went with Zach top lane, and then I think Senna Sion in the bot lane. So they were scrimming, frankly, against Bro. Now, Samver and Palu did not look bad. Actually, they got a couple 2v2 kills. Samver on the Varus. So give him credit where credit's due, even if T1 weren't trying that hard. I mean, it is a challenger bot lane making their debut, right? After what had just happened to them, I don't think anybody would have said, they just pack it in and go to their break because LCK are off next week for something. I don't understand that. But regardless, 25 CS lead for top for Zeus. Oh no, that's the other series. 18 CS lead for both Zeus and Owner over their counterparts in Morgan and Gideon. Laning phase, Owner on the Vi gets a solo kill onto Gideon. Faker on the Talia goes all over the place. Karis on the Tristana gets a solo kill. Like I said, Samver gets a couple, but Guma on the Senna cleans it up at the end. Kyria on the Sion. Kyria is the most mechanically gifted player in the world. That's why I say he's the best player in the world, because I think he could play any champion in the entire game. And I'm not saying that he's going to win the lane with it, but he will play the champion. And frankly, that's something that I don't think many players can hang their hat on. Kind of to take away from this was a beatdown by T1. But Samver, I thought, actually came away looking pretty good for Bro. LPL top esports Rare Adam top win 2-0. Cream ends up being MVP as he got a gift penta, which I hate gift pentas, but regardless. 12-2-13, 29% of damage. Mako 4-0-25 at support. Zhaozhu 4-6-3, 30% of damage in the loss. So, game 1, Topper had 3.4k gold at 14 minutes. Big diffy for Tien. Tien up 24 in the jungle. In the bot lane, Jackie Love Mako up 27. Tien on the Rel, making things happen all over the place. Jackie Love on the Lucian, very effective. And then Care on a Tristana would get a... Not Care. Cream on a Tristana would get a solo. They smoked them. Game 2 at 13.5 minutes. They're up 5.7k gold, 25 CS lead. 4-3-6-9 into Zhaozhu, 44 CS lead in bot lane. Asum and Zora did not look very good, and it's kind of ironic. I was thinking, wow, T1 Bro's bot lane looked bad, but they didn't even look as bad as what this matchup was looking for Rare Adams bot lane. And I would think Rare Adams bot lane should be better, right? Tien on the Poppy makes things happen again, gets them that lead. If it wasn't for the gift penta at the end, Tien would have been my MVP. Frankly, he was the most valuable player, but I got to stick to my rules. Jackie Love on the Senna, doing what he had to do, got this team ahead. Zhaozhu on the Rumble did stall things out for a second. If there was any player to mention on Rare Adam, it was Zhaozhu in Game 2. And then Cream on the Tristana, like I said, with the Penta. IG Thunder Talk, IG went 2-1. Cryan was my MVP. Once again, coming through on Azir strongly. I think in all of IG's wins thus far, it's been Cryan on the Azir. On 14-7-20, 30% of damage. YSKM 9-4-14. UCal 10-6-22, 29% of damage in the loss. So game 1, Thunder Talk have a slight 2.6k gold lead at 16-30. 57 CS lead for Hoya. No, that's not that one. Sorry. 21 CS lead for I don't even have a. No, that's for another game. I guess I'll mention in a minute. So, like I said, 21 CS lead for Hoya into YSKM, 17 for Bechuan into Tianjin. In terms of the early game, UCal on the Talia, making things happen. I always advocate if you're going to pick Talia mid, you have to get around the rift. You have to facilitate. That's the point of the Weaver Wall. That's the advantage you have over your opposition. And he was executing well on it. 1xN on the Aphelios, getting kills in the laning phase. Ain on Lucian, returning the favor. At the end of laning phase, IG's bot lane did have a 28 CS lead combined. YSKM on the Kesante, 2 solo kills in this one, and then crying on the Azir, ending things out. So Thunder Talk have this lead, but once the bot lane were done, trading kills back and forth, YSKM takes over and crying as well. Game 2, IG open up the lead. They have a 3K gold lead at 15 minutes, but they throw it. 22 CS lead for Bechuan. So Bechuan in this one really gapping Tianjin. Now, Thunder Talk securing all the grub spawns, so both grub spawns and the Rift Herald, which allows them to go into the mid game pretty solid. On the Draven, early kills. Honestly, IG threw this. Gold lead doesn't even do it justice. You have a Draven in a good spot and you somehow lose the game. Hoya on the Aatrox. Getting some kills in the mid game. And then Tianjin on the Maokai, integral to the team's success, just laying down his ulti and affecting the Rift. I think he had 100% KP when it was all done in Game 2. Now, Game 3, as typical, it's tied at 15-30. It's a close game. 35 CS lead for Hoya over YSKM. Bechuan had went up there twice to get him in a good position. However, Cryan had a 16 CS lead over UCal. On the Azir in the early game, he was the one getting things done. And then Hoya on the Kesante was all Thunder Talk really had. And in the end, on the Lucian was able to deal the damage, ended up leading the team in damage, like I said, and won them the game. Game 3 was one of those slow games where it's like, okay, neither one of us, we're both afraid of losing. BLG, EDG. So EDG broke a rule, I guess. I thought they were supposed to play the Snake yesterday, but they had announced leave in the lineup and then changed afterwards, which I guess they're going to get in trouble for. But regardless, BLG just smoked EDG at 15-30. They took the first turret. Bin had a 57 CS lead over solo kill in top lane. Knight with a solo kill on Azir had a 43 CS lead over Fisher. What do I have here? On a Nautilus, a 2v2 kill. Bin on the Darius, like I said, had a solo. Do give EDG's bot lane credit. They did have a 28 CS lead at 15-30, so that's something to hang your hat on. JJ on the Vi was literally all EDG had. Actually, I should go over these, huh? I should probably have told you the stats from it. So Shun ends up being MVP. A lot to do with the Kindred in Game 2 as he, was everything. He's the only player I wrote down because, frankly, it was one of those games where this is the Shun show. Elk, 8-3-15, 32% of damage. On 5-2-14, so the bot lane went 13-5-29 combined. Fisher, 4-6-4, 29% of damage in the loss. I think he played Corki and Azir. So, he was able to, rack up damage playing those typical mid lane scaling picks. But Game 2 at 12 minutes, laning phase ended, 5.7k gold lead for BLG. Yeah, it was one of those angles. 27 CS lead for Elk and On, but it really didn't matter. Shun on the Kindred was just on another level. I think he ended up with 10 kills in this one. Just pacing everybody. It is one of his pocket picks, and no, I do not think it should be banned. I do not really believe in must bans when it comes to a player of his stature, because you can 5 ban all you want. He's going to find something. So you're better off just giving him whatever the hell he wants and being prepared for it because you know that he may pick it. And that's just kind of how you do it. And clearly they were not ready for the Kindred as EDG are swapping out everything. LEC, BDS, Team Heretics. So BDS win 2-0. Nuke was my MVP on Orianna in both games. Ice 12-3-12, 35% of damage. Sheo 4-0-20 in the jungle. Perks 2-7-8, 27% of damage in the loss. I thought that Heretics were going to kind of go with that G2 angle of the past, where in playoffs they ramp it up, and that just didn't happen. 5.6k gold lead for BDS in game 1 at 15:45. 19 CS lead for Sheo over Yankos, and Ice and Lebrav up 45 CS over Flackett and Kaiser. Just a big diffy, if I'm being honest. Adam on the Rumble gets a solo kill off the rip. Nuke on the Orianna, that's one of his strongest champions. Nuke, I said this in the Discord. I think I've said it in videos. I don't think it's a real stretch to say he's the best EU mid and has been for the last 6 months. Just playing on another level. And now Caps obviously look good today, but the point is over the last 6 months, not today. Flackett on the Callista got a 2v2 kill. Lebrav on the Nautilus ending this one. Nice ulti, was able to really kind of screw things up in a team fight and end the game. Game 2, a little different. Team Heretics, a lot more feisty in this one. At 14 minutes, it's tied. Sheo clearly wanted to get Adam ahead as well as Ice, hitting both twice for ganks. Nuke on the Orianna, solo killed somebody. I'm going to assume Perks. Flackett once again on the Callista coming through, so in my opinion, he was their best player. Sheo on the Poppy, very effective, and then Ice on the Varus, his best champion, dealing damage. I know in the Discord we've been discussing the Korean import 80 carries in EU, and a lot of people aren't a fan of that. And how he hasn't been dealing a lot of damage, and BDS's gold share profile is very wonky, to say the least. And Ice is not dealing damage relative to the gold that he's getting, but then when you look at the shares, you're like, well, actually, it's almost like they're making Sheo a carry-oriented jungler and giving the facilitator role to Ice. Just based on how the shares are working, it just doesn't. It's a weird situation to have it turn out that way in resource allotment. But regardless, Ice dealt damage today, so that was something. G2 Giant X. G2 win 2-0. Caps 15-1-14 was my MVP. 33% of damage. Hansama 11-0-26. Patrick 2-8-3, 30% of damage in the loss. Game 1 was close, tied at the end of laning phase of 15 minutes. Broken Blade on the Yasuo, however, as the mid-game went along, started really getting strong. Peach matching him on the Xin Zhao, but in the end, the team fights were decided by the Yasuo and Wei. Wei for Caps being on another level. Just not able to be kept up with by Giant X. Giant X struggled. Jackie's did look good at times in this series. I think as a rookie in his first best of 3 in LEC, he was just fine. I think a lot of people giving Giant X a lot more shit than they deserve, given the circumstances and who they were against. I think I'd be more looking to their second best of 3 to figure out, where to actually place them. In terms of game 2, it was a blowout. G2 were up 8k gold at 14 minutes. So, took it to another level. I think BB may have played Zach in top in this one. Zeus did in game 2 if you skipped around in the Bro T1 series. Caps on the Azir, solo killed Jackie's. Yike on the Vi, getting a ton of kills. And Jackie's on the... I don't even know what it doesn't say Ari, but for some reason... Let's forget. Jackie's in game 2 looked really good. I have him written down here, so obviously he made something happen, but his champion is not coming back to me, and I can't read it from here. So, it was a weird game. Like, it's kind of like how I said about Pioshik getting a ton of kills on the Vi. Yike did that in game 2. So, 8k gold lead. I mean, that shit was done at the end of laning phase. LCS, Dignitas, Team Liquid. Team Liquid win in what was a LCS Classic. If you missed my video yesterday, I am sick and tired of these LCS Classics that make you want to gouge your eyes out when you watch them. APA 005, 34% of damage in the 6-8 kill game that they won. Impact 2-1-2, Dove 3-2-1, 27% of damage in the loss. So looking at the stats here, XU on the Nocturne was very active in the laning phase. I thought he looked pretty damn good. They were in a good spot. Dove on the Orianna combining with them. That's great. But the late game macro was just all over the damn place. I mean, I don't know if their comms are chaotic. They could be because you have a couple imports in there. So it's possible. But like the late game macro, they were just suffocated by Team Liquid. And it was a struggle to watch. APA on the Azir just kind of pushing them back. I have range, and I'm just going to take your Nexus. And it was a game of chicken. I mean, at the end of the laning phase, Dig had a 900 gold lead, 20 CS lead for XU over Umpty getting caught out time and time again. I think he was half of Team Liquid's deaths in this one. FlyQuest C9, FlyQuest would win. Masu ends up being my MVP, 4-2-8, 25% of damage. Busio 4-1 and 9. Berserker 1-4-5, 33% of damage and loss. I did have Fly winning this one going into it. Not a big surprise. The way C9 have been playing lately has been on struggle street. Does that mean they're dead? No. I think that would be a slight overreaction. I'm starting to debate whether to take the Discord overreactions and, of course, anonymously start mentioning them in content, because some things are getting out of hand. One fucking week. But regardless, C9 have been struggling, that's for sure. I expect them to turn it around. At the end of laning phase at 18 minutes, Fly had a 1.1k gold lead, 22 CS lead for Fudge and top, but he did nothing with it on the Aatrox. Buzio on the Nautilus, like I said, a couple 2v2 kills, and Masu on the Varus, also a couple 2v2 kills. And honestly, as somebody that's in North America, it's nice to see that NA may have a couple good players in the bot lane with Masu and Buzio. So, I mean, they smoked them. You have Jensen on Orianna, that's in a good spot. Bwipo on Kesante. FlyQuest are feeling themselves, and Cloud9 simply aren't. Immortals 100 Thieves win. Meech 519, 40% of damage. As the game went along, he just started raining havoc on IMT. Quid 5113 was my MVP. I thought he really turned the game in the mid game because it was tied essentially at 16 minutes in gold. So it was anyone's game at that point, and I thought Quid with his shockwave in a team fight in his own jungle, I believe on the Barons. It was on the Drake side, so bot side jungle on red. I thought he kind of gave them the boost they needed to then just get it going. Mask 3-3-3, 40% of damage in the loss, as he's kind of been Immortal's best player throughout this entire process. He's been dealing a lot of damage. Whether his KDA reflects that remains to be seen, but he does deal a good amount of damage. So, end of laning phase, 24 CS lead for Meech and Isla into tactical Ole. Ole on the Tahm Kench did have a solo kill in laning phase, though. Like I said, Quid on the Orianna coming through. Meech did well. Not a lot really to go over. NRG Shopify Rebellion. This was a blowout by Shopify as they go up 4.1k gold at 14 minutes. Bvoy 917, 38% of damage. MVP on Varus. Fake God 206 went deathless. FBI 1-4-4, 29% of damage in the loss. Bvoy 2v2 kills. Zazel a 2v2 kill himself on the Nautilus. And we had Boogie on the Taliyah all over the place. Now, when you take the Taliyah out of mid and you put in the jungle, it facilitates even more. It's a super... Last year, I think I said it was a bait pick because teams weren't using it right. Man, if you use that pick right, I really like seeing it. I like proactive play. I like teams that make things happen. And that pick certainly does it. So laning phase, was the Shopify show. They're the only ones really getting anything done. NRG attempted an early game dive in lane and both died in bot, and that's kind of what got Varus and Bvoy going, and it was just unstoppable from there. Insanity on the Scion mid. Shopify have fun picks. They're a fun team. Whether they're going to win or lose, more likely than not lose. That's, is what it is. All right. So that's done. Sneak peek for tomorrow, LPL. We have OMG and NIP to start us off. OMG 2-2 coming off of a win against Thunder Talk. NIP 3-1 coming off of a win against Team Wii. Last time they played, OMG would win 2-1. 4 of the 10 starters are the same. Abel and PP God, 12-6 and 29, 34% of damage. Fodic and Zhu, 7, 12, 28, 41% of damage in the loss. After that, JDG, LNG, JDG 2-0 coming off of a win against NIP. LNG 2-1 coming off of a win against Weibo. Last time they played, JDG won 3-0 at Worlds. 6 out of 10 starters are the same. Ruler 7, 5, 14, 22% of damage in the win. Gala 7, 5, 14, 30% of damage in the loss. That was ironic, huh? Same KDAs. RNG and Weibo. RNG 2-1 coming off of a win against Ultra Prime. Weibo 2-1 coming off of a loss to LNG. Last time they played, Weibo would win 2-1. Xiaohu 8, 7, 20, 27% of damage in the win. Tangwan 7, 6, 15, 31% of damage in the loss. LCK. Nongshim HLE. Nongshim 1-4. Lost to FearX. HLE 4-1. Beat the Guangdong Freaks. Last time they played, HLE won 2-0. 6 of the 10 starters are the same. Viper 4, 3, 11, 25% of damage. Jiwoo 1, 6, 5, 30% of damage in the loss. The other LCK series, FearX Gen G. FearX 3-2 coming off of a win against Nongshim. Gen G 5-0 coming off of a win against the Freaks. Last time, so HLE coming off a win against D+. I swapped to that. Gen G 2-0 last time they played. Chovy 9-2, 14, 30% of damage. Closer 8-5-6, 34% of damage on the defeated side. LEC, SK Vitality, SK 5-4 coming off of a loss to G2. Vitality 4-5 coming off of a loss to Mad Lions Koi. Last time they played, SK would win. Exakick 603, 35% of damage. Karzi 310, 30% of damage. Mad Lions Koi 5-4 coming off of that win against Vitality. Fnatic 5-4 coming off of a win against Heretics. Last time they played, Mad Lions won. Frescowi 9-3-5, 30% of damage. Humanoid 5-3-6, 45% of damage in the loss. LCS. FlyQuest Dignitas, last time they played, Dig would win. 2 of the 10 starters are the same. Rich and Tomo for Dig. Rich went 2-2-4, 31% of damage. TL Cloud9, last time they played, TL would win. 6 of the 10 starters are the same. Eon 1-1-5, 19% of damage. Berserker 5-1-8, 34% of damage in the loss. 100 Thieves Shopify, they've never played. However, when 100 Thieves played TSM last year, Quid would be on the winning side, going 10-2-4, 35% of damage. Insanity 0-4-2, 23% of damage. In that one, it was a Jace versus Sejuani mid lane matchup. IMT NRG finished us off. IMT won last time. Half the starters are the same. Tactical 7-2-4, 25%. FBI 2-5-4, 25% of damage in the loss. And that'll do it for your daily dose of LOL Esports content. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.